Okay, we've got another founder coming up. We've got Caren from Nestio. Let's take a look at what Nestio does.
Nestio builds marketing software for residential landlords, management companies, and brokers to manage their available apartments and market them in real time across the channels they care about. And the way they were doing it beforehand was very antiquated and really a very manual process. When you're looking on typical listing websites like StreetEasy or Zillow or Trulia, we power a lot of the apartments there. And ultimately what that means for the landlord is because they're housing their information in one centralized system, they can market information more efficiently. They can also run reporting and analytics so that they can tweak certain things, optimize certain things, and benefit to them is that they're renting their apartments faster, more efficiently, with the most qualified tenants. We charge a subscription fee to the landlords and management companies we work with. They pay on a per unit per month basis, depending on the size of their portfolio. On the brokerage side, we typically sell to the owner of the brokerage firm, and we charge on a per seat per month basis. We've raised a little over $11 million since we've been in business. Most recently, we closed on our Series A funding at the very end of 2015. Lead investor there was a firm named Trinity Ventures, very well known in the real estate tech space. They've done a lot of really great investments. So they emerged very quickly in my fundraising process as the best possible partner for us. And they've been fantastic. They're bigger, publicly traded companies. Some of them have spun off products to cater towards marketing, more as ancillary services than anything else, so not their core, but we do come across them time and again when we're pitching a landlord and tell them we've built out a system that will not only connect you with all of the sort of marketing channels you care about, but also a whole network of brokers who are focused on residential rentals. That's a major point of differentiation. We've since launched other markets. We're in Dallas, we're in Chicago. We also have folks who've raised their hands in other markets like Boston, Los Angeles, San Francisco. So from a marketing standpoint, the software can be used anywhere, but we try to be a bit surgical as we roll out to other markets.
Thanks. Please welcome onto the stage Caren Maio from Nestio. Welcome.
Thank you.
Get ready to warm up.
I think I'm wearing basically the same outfit from that video, which is incredibly embarrassing.
Good.
But it is what it is.
So everyone will recognize you.
That's right, that's right.
Thanks for coming. So, Nestio, how's it going?
It's going, it's busy.
Yeah.
Which I'll take any day of the week.
Why is the real estate market so broken? Like, why wasn't anyone doing this already? You guys are fixing something that's been broken for years. Why?
Yeah, you know, I always joke around that real estate's sort of the land that technology forgot, but I think they also forgot about technology, to be honest with you, and I think I've spoken to you about this before. I often liken the multifamily owner, operator, landlord, sort of like the house at the casino, right? They're making money hand over fist, whether they're on a spreadsheet, a fax machine, or something else. But I think there's a lot of sort of external pressures coming down from more competition. I mean, we've seen it now with prior panels over the past couple of days with Common and a couple of other great companies breaking ground in the co-living space. I just think that there's more competition in the market with new construction now than ever before. Clients are expecting more, so I think people are finally ready to change, but it creates opportunities for people like me.
You guys are, your main customers are now, they're brokers.
They're landlords, management companies, and brokers, yeah.
Okay, not tenants.
No, not tenants. Although initially that's how we started, right?
Right.
Sort of scratching our own itch, but realized that there was sort of a lack of technology on the professional side, and in order to ultimately help the consumer, we decided to focus on the B2B professional side of things.
Does that mean that you're going to turn back to the consumer when you expand? Is it, because I mean, I can see what you're doing is a bit of a funnel, right? If there's a real estate funnel that which goes from property through to renter.
Sure.
You're taking one piece of it.
Sure. Going top of the funnel.
Yeah, the top of the funnel, exactly.
Right.
And I mean, it seems really logical to me that you would continue to move along and to cover other aspects of the chain of money.
It's a really great question. For me, I love serving one master on the professional side. Frankly, two, even, right, with landlords and then brokers. I love sort of being Switzerland in a way where I have one customer to serve and I can serve them appropriately. And I can partner with listing sites to provide that value to the consumer. So for me, I have no intention of going back, but I hope subtly we'll be able to help the consumer with the work we do.
Okay. So when I think of tech and stories in the world of housing, I feel like one of the big juggernauts at the moment is Airbnb.
Sure.
What's your take on them? Do you work with them now? Or?
So we don't work with Airbnb now.
Yeah.
I think
you hear a lot of like, do people talk shit about them?
It's funny, not really.
No?
It's neither good nor bad.
Yeah.
They haven't come up much in my conversations with my customers or my prospects. I think it's a very interesting company. I think any company that can galvanize an industry to do something different and think differently, I think it's a great thing. I don't come across them in my day-to-day conversations as much.
Do you worry about them encroaching on your market, though? I mean, because they're basically trying to disrupt how things are rented.
Sure.
And they're going to, they started with very temporary accommodation, but
sure.
I would say it's becoming pretty obvious that they'll move into, nothing is sacred. If you've got a property, they will try to get in the middle of how that property gets occupied.
Sure. Sure. I think time will tell. I certainly don't stay up at night worrying about competitors or potential competitors. I think that they've done a lot for the industry. I think they'll continue to do a lot. And I think it'll be interesting to see if they end up trying to move further upstream to the actual professional, or if they continue to do what they've been doing, which is anyone can effectively be a landlord.
Yeah.
We'll be curious to see if they try to move more towards professional companies and create an offering for them, which is really our core customer, which is, it's not the everyday man who's trying to rent an apartment. It's the professional who's trying to do business in a better, more efficient way.
Yeah. It's interesting because there have been other startups. Lovely is one that I mentioned to you once.
Yeah.
These companies that are putting themselves in the position of essentially trying to help the landlords, the renters, present and manage their properties better.
Sure.
There are a bunch of other services there that even if you were kind of just beholden to one man, or however you said it.
Sure.
How did you say it?
One master, I think.
A master, one master.
Affectionately so.
I love my customers. But yeah, so you've got like that, but they also need other services to help manage their, renters, whether it's helping administer the renting side,
totally
weird concierge stuff,
Totally, yeah.
Is that something you guys might do? Or?
So we've seen an explosion, I think, of some that are point solutions, some that, in the case of Lovely and some of the other listing sites that I've seen, where they really kind of focus more on the consumer side, really sort of function like media companies in many ways. And I think Zillow is the prime example of that. With regards to concierge services and other things like that, and to kind of circle back on your original question, which is, will we ever go to consumer? No, not explicitly, but I do think that there are opportunities to either get closer to the transaction, layer on additional either, more functionality to our existing software, or new features, new products to help cater towards that flow so folks can communicate more effectively.
Okay. So now with Nestio, you're not like a sort of serial entrepreneur of tech startups, and yet you've now found yourself as a founder of a tech startup.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little bit of the backstory of how you ended up where you are? It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so I
Not a typical story.
No, it's not. I went to college here. I've been in New York for about 15 years now. I loved it. Always knew I wanted to start my own business. Took a semester off without asking mom and dad, which didn't go very well. And they were like, get back in school if you still have this crazy idea.
Was that a startup or?
It was, I was interning for a media publication. And I had this concept that I wanted to bring to fruition, and the company was willing to work on it with me. And I was like, great, I'll leave school, I'll cut out, and I'll get to work. And I made an agreement with my parents, and they're like, listen, you still have this crazy idea, you want to start your own business, we'll emotionally support you, which was very important, not financially.
That's good.
So I graduated. My father's a mentor of mine, encouraged me to get a background in something. He's like, you love to talk, go into sales, go into business development. So I initially took a job at Nike in their satellite office in New York, and then moved on to the Wall Street Journal. And I started to kind of peripherally touch real estate and some of the things I did. I always loved real estate. Then found out about a program called TechStars, which was making their way to New York for their first class. Put in an application sort of as the underdog. I had known my co-founder for probably about a year and a half, 2 years at that point. And we were fortunate enough to get in, and kind of away we went.
But so you started it first as a sort of consumer thing. Did you have like a specific idea of what you wanted? Did that come over time when you started learning more and more about the market, and then you kind of oriented the business to fit what you saw as the gap?
Yeah,
or?
so initially when Mike and I, when we were in Techstars, it was sort of like, what do we build? We got in with a back of the napkin idea, and there were companies of sort of varying levels there. We had a company with $1 million run rate at that time, someone who was going on to raise a Series A, and we were sort of like the starter entrepreneurs, and launched effectively a consumer-facing application.
Was your co-founder like the technical co-founder?
He was the technical co-founder, yeah. And he, we initially started a consumer-facing application, sort of scratching our own itch as apartment hunters, and realized probably about halfway through the life of the company, so probably about 3.5 years ago now, that there were lots of issues surrounding the data, the way information was marketed and communicated, which resulted for us in listings that were stale, never existed to begin with, et cetera. And then I did some really deep discovery on the professional side. I shadowed customers. I worked out of their offices. I spent as much time as I could within the industry.
Stalked them, in other words.
I stalked them, and I told you I stalked them, like just admittedly stalked them. And then finally they were like, all right.
Not at all weird.
Not at all weird. Yeah. I think some of them maybe were weirded out, but I think most of them admired my persistence.
They liked the chutzpah.
Yeah. They did. And
I can imagine in New York real estate, they're pretty ruthless. So they're like, I like it.
Oh yeah. And they like personalities too, and like I'm a pretty extroverted, like love building relationships, love meeting new people, and I like being customer facing. So I think they appreciated it, and we're like, all right, we'll give this woman a shot. Let her in a little bit.
That's good.
Yeah.
Did you find it a bit of a boys' club, or is it okay? I mean, one of my closest family friends, she's like a mom to me, is a woman. She's a real estate master of Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh, that's
like,
awesome.
Yeah, she really knows her things.
Yeah.
But I kind of, is it a very male-dominated? I think of like the Kushners and so on. It's like the Trumps. Totally. They're very.
So I mean, I think you would think so, and I think I don't know if I initially went in thinking that. I don't know if I had any preconceived notions, but it's funny. I can't speak to the ratio of men to women, but what I can say is when I do come across really great women, and I have, particularly in the industry, they're very, very collaborative, and they really, genuinely want to help. It's way more collaborative than competitive, which wasn't really the case in advertising. It was way more, it was a bit more cutthroat. Yeah. So it was very welcome, both on the real estate side and obviously the tech side as well.
But so you were saying how real estate is the land that tech left behind, which is a nice way of putting it. A polite way, a light way of putting it. But that kind of also poses a problem, because on the one hand it's like, ooh, ripe for opportunity, but on the other, you're getting a bunch of people who are like, I'm fine, I'm making loads of money.
Sure.
Why do I need to fix something that I do not feel is broken? So does that pose a challenge for you guys in terms of growing your business? Or?
Yeah, so it's a great question, and I'd say a couple of things around that. I think there's always that challenge of, is it an education problem or an awareness problem, right? Is a landlord going to Google and typing in rental software, right, or marketing automation software? Not yet, but I think from what I've seen from when we pivoted the business 3.5 years ago, when I was salesperson 0 and literally trying to call folks to get them to care and not hang up the phone on me, there's a mindset shift, I think particularly over the past few years, that I'm personally really excited about. And I think that's happening from a few different things. One, more competition, right? So that landlord who was the house at the casino is now looking to the north, south, east, and west, saying, holy shit, right? There's new developments, breaking ground, topping off. They will outmarket me, out-amenitize me. I need to start thinking about, how do I stay competitive? Secondly, I think consumers are demanding more, right? Zillow, Trulia, they're now companies that are 12, 13 years old now, if not a little bit more. A little older than that, and they're just used to engaging in shopping experience or customized experience in a certain way. So they're going to the landlord and saying, what do you mean? I need to fax my application. So they're demanding more.
So they'll just not go to the one who's asking for things like that now.
Sure, so I think that there's just a lot, there's sort of these external factors that's causing a shift, which I'm personally really excited about.
Yeah. Okay, we're running out of time.
Okay, awesome.
Someone is going to bully us off the stage in a second. Thank you
right.
so much.
No problem.
Thanks,
you.
everybody.